Be prepared. This weekend holds one crucial spiritual rule, and if you break it, you'll unleash something you can't take back. Stop, not a single word. This weekend is charged, and your voice is the fuse. Even the smallest comment, the most innocent reply, can ripple out and come back at you in ways you won't expect. It's not about being weak. It's not about avoiding people. It's about survival, energetic survival. You are walking through a field of invisible tripwires, and every word you speak has the power to set them off. Silence is not punishment, it's protection, but most won't realize it until it's too late. And if you think I'm exaggerating, wait until you hear what's already been unleashed. Something has been let loose, and it's not subtle. The spirit of miscommunication is roaming freely this weekend, twisting words before they even leave your mouth. You think you're sharing love, they hear condescension. You think you're explaining yourself, they hear betrayal. You think you're comforting them, they hear pity. It's not you, it's not them, it's the energy. This force feeds on over-explaining, on raw emotions, on the urge to fix things. But the harder you try to fix, the faster they break. The weekend feels like downtime, but that's exactly why it's dangerous. When you relax, your guard lowers. And when your guard lowers, the tests begin. Most people don't realize that the weekend is when your energy field is wide open, exposed like an unlocked door. That's why small things hit harder during these days. A comment from someone close doesn't just land, it cuts. A casual disagreement doesn't fade, it escalates. What you say carries double the weight, and what you hear feels sharper, heavier, harder to ignore. The danger isn't in chaos, it's in calm. Because in the calm, you think it's safe to let everything spill out. But it's not. Silence is what protects you. Silence is what restores you. Sometimes the strongest shield you have is the word you never say. This weekend, that is your shield. Speak less, listen more. Let others burn their energy if they need to. Here's the catch. It won't feel like a test at first. It'll feel familiar, harmless, even safe. A tone in someone's voice, a comment that feels slightly off, a reaction that pulls you to respond. It won't scream danger. It will whisper, and that whisper will tempt you to engage. This is how the trap works. It disguises itself as something you've seen before, something you think you can handle. But once you step into it, the energy shifts, and suddenly you're caught in a cycle of over-explaining, defending, or proving your point. And the more you try to prove yourself, the further you drift from your real purpose. The trap is not about winning or losing an argument. It's about distracting you from your path. Your purpose doesn't need defending. It needs protecting. That's why the silence matters. Because silence keeps you anchored. Silence stops you from wasting your strength in battles that were never yours to fight. When the test arrives, and it will look small. But behind it is a pull into chaos. And once you're inside, it takes everything from you. This weekend, remember, the real battle is not what's happening outside of you. It's whether you let yourself get pulled away from the inside. So how do you actually pass this test? It's not about avoiding people, and it's not about hiding from life. It's about the pause, the sacred pause before you respond. This weekend, every moment of stillness you allow yourself becomes spiritual armor. When someone pushes your buttons, your first instinct will be to react, to defend, to explain, to set the record straight. That's the trap. Instead, pause, breathe. Let the silence speak for you. The pause is where your power lives. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom holding its ground. Ground your energy before you open your mouth, before you text back, before you answer that question. Feel your body, feel your breath. Set your intention to protect your inner world before you give anything away to the outer one. Because words spoken from a grounded state are rare, sharp, and meaningful. But words spoken from reactivity scatter your energy and weaken you. This weekend, the challenge isn't to avoid being triggered, it's to transform the trigger into awareness. Every time something stings, instead of lashing outward, turn it inward. Ask, why is this touching me here? Why is it trying to pull me into reaction? That shift alone is the test. And here's the truth. Silence this weekend is not just silence, it's proof of your maturity. Most people think maturity is about being louder, explaining more, or proving a point. But real maturity is knowing when to withhold your fire, when to let the storm pass without joining it. Your test is not about whether you win an argument. It's about whether you protect your peace. And protecting your peace means choosing silence, even when your ego demands to speak. There's something moving through people right now, something that doesn't belong to them, and it's feeding on every conversation. It's the entity of interruption. This entity lives on broken intentions. It feeds when you start to say something meaningful, but the moment gets twisted. It thrives when conversations suddenly go sideways, when a light-hearted exchange turns into sharp edges. It's why arguments can spark out of nowhere, why misunderstandings feel heavier than they should. And it doesn't just appear randomly. It seeks out the moments when you're trying to explain yourself. Think about how many times you've poured your heart out to someone, only for them not to even hear what you said. That's not just miscommunication. That's interruption working through them, feeding on the fragments of your unspoken truth. Not every ear deserves your voice. That's the key. Every time you try to fix, justify, or prove, you're feeding it. You're giving this entity exactly what it wants. Broken sentences, broken intentions, broken energy. The way to starve it is silence. The less you explain, the less it has to feed on. This weekend, you'll notice it. Conversations starting and stopping abruptly, people cutting you off, your words feeling blocked or tangled. That's not coincidence. It's the interruption weaving itself into the space between people. And the only way to rise above it is to stop offering it food. Do not chase after being understood. Do not waste your breath proving your innocence. Don't even try to tie up loose ends. Because once you stop feeding this thing, it loses its grip, and you step into a level of peace that most people never reach. Over-explaining feels harmless, doesn't it? You think you're just clarifying, just making sure the other person understands your heart. But this weekend, that habit isn't innocent. It's dangerous. It becomes a parasite that feeds not on your words, but on your energy. Every unnecessary word is a leak in your protection. Think about it. Every time you say, "But what I meant was," or "Let me just explain one more thing," you're not actually protecting yourself, you're draining yourself. Each extra sentence you add is another cut in your shield, another opening where your energy slips away. You don't even notice it happening. You feel like you're winning the conversation, but deep down, you're leaving weaker than you started. This parasite of over-explaining shows up in subtle ways. It disguises itself as love when you try too hard to smooth things over. It disguises itself as truth when you try to prove your innocence. It disguises itself as kindness when you overload someone with details they never even asked for. But underneath every disguise is the same trap. The more you talk, the more you give away what should be kept within. And here's what makes it even trickier. This parasite doesn't just live in you, it thrives through the people closest to you. They will unconsciously pull it out of you. A raised eyebrow, a sigh, a simple, "What do you mean?" can be enough to make you spill more and more of yourself just to be understood. But that's the test. To recognize that silence itself can be the strongest response. Silence is not the absence of explanation. Silence is the proof that your truth is already whole. This weekend, you must learn to resist the urge to fill every gap. When someone questions your intentions, don't scramble to defend them. When someone misunderstands your words, don't rush to correct them. Let them think what they think. Because every time you resist the parasite, your energy field grows stronger, your spirit more untouchable. Imagine how many times you've walked away from a conversation feeling drained, not because of the argument itself, but because of all the extra words you poured out. That is the cost of over-explaining. And this weekend, the cost is doubled. What feels like just a harmless explanation is actually you handing over pieces of yourself you'll never get back. So guard your tongue. Not everything needs to be clarified. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. The people who are meant to truly see you don't need your constant explanations. They can feel your truth without a word. And the people who don't, no explanation will ever satisfy them anyway. Your silence is not emptiness. Your silence is your shield. You've been searching for answers, for clarity, for that one sign that confirms everything you've been sensing in your gut. And here it is, but not in the way you expect. The threshold of silence is where your real message lives. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of instructions. This weekend is not about vision boards, affirmations, or scripting your desires into the universe. Those tools have their place, but right now, they are noise. The message that wants to reach you cannot pierce through constant chatter. It only travels through the one space we almost never enter: complete, unapologetic silence. Think of it like standing at the doorway of a temple. You can't hear what's inside if you keep speaking at the door. You have to cross the threshold, step into the silence, and allow the whispers to reveal themselves. That's what this weekend is: a threshold. Once you hold the silence long enough, something activates in you that has been waiting for your permission to rise. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. The urge to explain yourself, to text back, to clarify, to break the silence, it will gnaw at you. But the longer you resist, the more powerful the quiet becomes. After 24 hours, you'll notice your mind beginning to slow, old noise beginning to fade. By the time you cross 48 hours, the silence is no longer empty. It is alive. And then it begins. Clarity enters, not as a thunderclap, but as something undeniable. Your next step suddenly feels obvious, like it was waiting in the wings all along. A name you had forgotten may rise to the surface of your mind. A memory you didn't know was still alive in you may unlock and deliver its meaning. Silence sharpens the voice of destiny. But here's the catch. This only happens if you hold the line completely. Not halfway silence, not mostly quiet except when I explain myself. The silence must be whole. Even one careless explanation, one emotional outburst, one unnecessary conversation can break the thread and reset the process. This is not punishment, it is precision. The silence works like an initiation, and initiations are strict. They require full commitment. Because what waits on the other side is not small. It's not just relief or peace, it's a blueprint, a direct transmission, the kind of clarity that can shift months of confusion in an instant. The threshold of silence is your proving ground. If you can cross it, you'll see that your real message was never lost, never hidden. It was simply waiting for you to stop speaking long enough to hear it. There is something already in motion for you. It isn't random, it isn't vague, it is precise. An insight, an opportunity, or a connection is already making its way toward your life right now. It's not a question of if it comes, but when. And that timing is fragile. This weekend decides whether it arrives on schedule or whether it gets delayed. If you open your mouth too soon, you push your destiny further away. Most people think manifestation works on desire alone, what you dream, what you script, what you visualize. But there's another side, alignment. And this weekend, alignment is not about what you do, it's about what you don't do. The silence you hold becomes the magnet that locks you into the precise timing of the opportunity. But here's where it gets dangerous. Every unnecessary word spoken to the wrong person knocks you out of position. You may not see it in the moment. You may just think you're venting, clarifying, joking, or defending yourself. Yet that little leak of energy sends out a ripple. Instead of pulling your opportunity closer, it pushes it to the edges of your timeline. What could have arrived next week may get delayed by months. The silence is not emptiness, it's architecture. It builds an energetic bridge between where you are and where that opportunity is trying to meet you. And each time you break the silence with unneeded words, you chip away at the bridge. One careless sentence, one over-explanation, one conversation with someone who doesn't carry the capacity to hear you, that's all it takes to weaken the structure. And here's the part people won't tell you. It's not only about the words themselves, it's about the frequency of those words. When you speak unnecessarily, you step into the frequency of distraction, and distraction is the greatest thief of timing. Every word spoken outside of alignment delays the thing you've been praying for. This weekend is not a small test, it is a checkpoint. The universe is calculating. Will you hold the silence and allow the magnet to do its work, or will you spill energy into the wrong channels and watch your breakthrough drift further away? The choice is deceptively simple: stay silent and let the current pull you forward, or speak and push back the tide with your own hands. The silence is not punishment, it is positioning. And right now, positioning is everything. Right now, your aura isn't just a shield, it's a conductor. It's absorbing, translating, and amplifying every subtle current in your environment. Normally, your aura knows how to filter. It keeps out noise, it balances incoming energy, and it stabilizes your mood. But this weekend, something is different. Your aura is so open, so electrically charged, that even the smallest act of speech destabilizes it. Your aura is a living circuit. Every word you speak either strengthens it or makes it bleed. Think of your silence as armor. Every moment you stay quiet, the armor seals tighter, becoming more reflective, more protective. You move through the day untouched, insulated, almost untouchable in your peace. But the instant you speak without necessity, that armor cracks, not with a dramatic explosion, but with a subtle leak, a slow bleeding of energy you won't notice until it's too late. What makes this so dangerous is that you'll often feel the urge to speak most around the people you love most. And that's where the vulnerability cuts the deepest. You might think you're sharing, clarifying, bonding, but your aura doesn't see it as bonding. It sees it as exposure. When your aura is this conductive, every word spoken turns into an opening, an invitation for static energy to flood in. Suddenly, conversations that would normally feel safe begin to distort. Emotions get tangled, words feel sharper, tones feel heavier. Silence isn't withdrawal, it's insulation. When your aura bleeds, you'll know it. You'll feel more tired than usual after simple interactions. You'll notice emotions that don't belong to you lingering in your chest. You'll find yourself replaying conversations in your mind long after they end. These are the signs that your aura has absorbed too much, that your speech has thinned your protection. But here's the hidden layer. Your aura isn't just conductive to people. It's also conductive to intention. When you speak prematurely, not only do you bleed energy, but you also scatter your intentions into the atmosphere before they're fully formed. Instead of growing inside your field where they are safe, they get diluted by the static of other people's energy. And that's when manifestation delays happen, when clarity dissolves, when your vision feels foggy again. Right now, your silence is not passive, it is magnetic. Each unsaid word becomes stored energy. Each pause strengthens the shield. By holding your tongue, you allow your aura to grow denser, more luminous, more self-contained. And when the weekend passes, you'll notice the difference. Instead of feeling drained, you'll feel charged, like you've been storing lightning in your chest. Every silence is a deposit. Every unnecessary word is a withdrawal. Restraint is not weakness, it is power sharpened into precision. This weekend, when you choose silence over speaking, peace over proving, you are not just avoiding conflict. You are declaring to the universe that you are ready for more. Ready to handle blessings without sabotaging them. Ready to hold authority without leaking energy. Ready to lead with presence instead of noise. Every time you resist the urge to defend yourself, the universe takes note. You are no longer ruled by pride, you are ruled by purpose. This restraint is not about shrinking yourself or letting others walk over you. It is about signaling to higher forces that you can be trusted, that you won't waste divine energy on pointless battles, that you won't scatter your light in arguments that mean nothing. And when that signal is received, the response is always acceleration. Cycles that have repeated for years suddenly collapse. Situations that used to trigger you lose their grip. Doors that seemed locked swing open because your silence proved what words never could. You are no longer caught in the old game. You are ready for the next level. Silence is not empty. Silence is a contract with the future. When you pass this test, it doesn't just shift your inner world, it bends the timeline around you. The people who once drained you begin to fade from your path. New opportunities rise up to meet your frequency. Even your relationships shift, because when you stop feeding chaos, you no longer attract it. This weekend, every withheld word is not just restraint, it's construction. You are literally building a foundation for blessings to land on. Without the leaks, your energy condenses into something solid, something magnetic, something undeniable. And the reward? It doesn't trickle in slowly, it crashes in. Breakthroughs that were stalled suddenly move. Delays untangle themselves. That idea you had months ago finally connects to the right person, the right chance, the right moment. And it happens because your silence announced, louder than any voice could, that you are no longer living in the old pattern. Peace over pride is the language of mastery, and mastery always attracts reward. By choosing restraint, You do more than pass a test. You shift your destiny. You declare to the universe that you are no longer bound to reactive cycles. You step into spiritual authority. And once authority is recognized, blessings cannot be withheld. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.